Gone too soon. Amy Winehouse, Prince, Whitney Houston, Cory Monteith and Robin Williams. The world of music, film, and culture has always been filled with stars who shine so brightly that their brilliance feels eternal. And yet, sometimes, those very stars vanish suddenly, leaving behind a silence that is both painful and unforgettable. Among them are Amy Winehouse, Prince, Whitney Houston, Cory Monteith, and Robin Williams, artists who touched millions of lives and whose legacies remain etched in our collective memory. Their journeys, though different, intersect in one powerful truth: they were gone too soon, leaving behind an immeasurable impact. Amy Winehouse, the fragile soul with a voice of fire. Amy Winehouse was born in September 1983 in the north of London, into a family where music was always present. From childhood, she was captivated by jazz legends like Sarah Vaughan and Dinah Washington. Those early influences shaped her unique style, a smoky, contralto voice that seemed to come from another time. When Amy burst onto the scene with her debut album Frank in 2003, critics immediately recognized her as a force of raw authenticity. She was unlike the polished pop stars of her time. Her lyrics were brutally honest, often poetic, and deeply personal. But it was her second album, Back to Black 2006, that turned her into a global phenomenon. Songs like Rehab, You Know I'm No Good, and Back to Black spoke openly of addiction, heartbreak, and self-destruction, wrapped in a retro Motown-inspired sound. Her artistry won her 6 Grammy Awards, but fame brought with it relentless media attention. Paparazzi followed her every move. Her turbulent relationship with Blake Fielder Civil became tabloid fodder, and her struggles with drugs and alcohol became public battles. She was a young woman trying to cope with pain through music, but the pressure of fame amplified her demons. On July 23, 2011, Amy was found dead in her London home at just 27 years old. Her passing placed her in the infamous 27 Club, alongside legends like Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Kurt Cobain, artists who burned brightly but briefly. Though her time was short, Amy's impact remains enormous. Her music continues to inspire a new generation of singers who look up to her fearless honesty, from Adele to Lady Gaga. Amy Winehouse's story is one of vulnerability wrapped in extraordinary strength. She gave the world her soul, even when it cost her everything. Prince, the purple one who redefined music. If Amy was the embodiment of raw emotion, Prince Rogers Nelson, known simply as Prince, was the embodiment of reinvention. Born in Minneapolis in 1958, Prince grew up surrounded by music, teaching himself multiple instruments by the time he was a teenager. His debut album came out at the age of 20, and soon after, the world discovered a once-in-a-century talent. Prince was not just a musician, he was a universe of sound. He blended funk, rock, R&B, pop, jazz, and electronic music into a fusion that defied categorization. His flamboyant performances, gender-fluid style, and groundbreaking albums turned him into both a cultural icon and a revolutionary artist. His 1984 album Purple Rain became one of the most important works in music history. Songs like When Doves Cry and Purple Rain are still performed at arenas worldwide, symbols of his enduring influence. Prince was also a fighter for artistic independence. His famous battle with his record label led him to change his name to a symbol, often referred to as the artist formerly known as Prince. He wrote the word slave on his cheek to protest the industry's control over his music, and he eventually won ownership of his masters. Beyond music, Prince was deeply spiritual and philanthropic, quietly supporting countless causes without seeking recognition. Yet, even as he appeared untouchable on stage, Prince too faced personal struggles. On April 21, 2016, he was found dead at his Paisley Park estate due to an accidental overdose of fentanyl. His sudden departure shocked the world, for he was still actively creating, still planning performances, still envisioning new worlds of music. Prince left behind not just songs, but a philosophy, that art must be free, that individuality must be celebrated, and that music has no boundaries. His purple legacy still paints the world with brilliance. Whitney Houston, the voice of a generation. Whitney Elizabeth Houston was born in Newark, New Jersey, in 1963, into a family steeped in music. Her mother, Cissy Houston, was a gospel singer, her cousin was Dionne Warwick, and her godmother was Aretha Franklin. From the beginning, Whitney was destined for greatness. Her voice was unlike any other. With a range that could soar to the heavens and a clarity that felt divine, Whitney redefined what it meant to be a vocalist. Her debut album in 1985 introduced hits like Saving All My Love for You and How Will I Know, but it was just the beginning. She went on to become one of the most awarded female artists of all time. Her rendition of I Will Always Love You, recorded for the Bodyguard soundtrack in 1992, became one of the best-selling singles in history. Whitney wasn't just a singer, she was a cultural force, breaking barriers for Black women in the entertainment industry and showing the world the true power of soul, gospel, and pop fusion. But like Amy, Whitney faced immense personal struggles. Her marriage to Bobby Brown was turbulent, and she struggled for years with substance abuse. The media often portrayed her as a tragic figure, but those who knew her also remembered her warmth, humor, and faith. On February 11, 2012, just one day before the Grammy Awards, Whitney was found dead in her hotel room in Beverly Hills. She was 48 years old. The news devastated the music world, and tributes poured in from every corner of the globe. Whitney Houston's story is bittersweet, a voice that lifted millions, but a life that revealed how even the strongest can break under pressure. Her music, however, remains immortal, and her influence continues to guide every singer who dreams of standing on a stage and letting their voice soar. Cory Monteith, a star of youth and hope. Cory Monteith's story was shorter than many, but its impact was profound. Born in Calgary, Canada, in 1982, Cory had a difficult childhood marked by instability. He dropped out of school early and struggled with substance abuse from his teenage years. But when he discovered acting, his life found direction. Cory's big break came when he was cast as Finn Hudson on the hit TV show Glee. The show was a cultural phenomenon, blending music, comedy, and drama in a way that captured the hearts of millions. Cory's character, the kind-hearted football player who discovers a passion for singing, became a symbol of acceptance, growth, and transformation. Off-screen, Cory was beloved for his humility, kindness, and openness about his struggles. He used his platform to inspire others facing addiction, showing that recovery was possible and that vulnerability was strength. But despite his efforts, addiction continued to haunt him. On July 13, 2013, Cory was found dead in a hotel room in Vancouver. He was only 31. The Glee cast and fans around the world were devastated. Lea Michele, his co-star and partner, described him as the greatest man she had ever known. Cory's death was a reminder of the silent battles many face. His legacy is not just in his role on Glee, but in the love and inspiration he gave to so many. For fans, he will always be remembered as the boy who sang his heart out and made millions believe in hope. Robin Williams, the clown with the saddest smile. Robin McLaurin Williams was born in Chicago in 1951. From a young age, he had a gift, a mind that moved faster than anyone else's and a heart that could connect with anyone in the room. His rise to fame began with stand-up comedy and his unforgettable role as the alien Mork in Mork and Mindy. But Robin's genius was limitless. He could shift from manic improvisation to deeply emotional performances with ease. His filmography is legendary. Good Morning, Vietnam, Dead Poets Society, Mrs. Doubtfire, Aladdin as the Genie, Jumanji, and Good Will Hunting, for which he won an Academy Award. Robin had the rare gift of making people laugh until they cried, and then cry until they laughed again. His presence brought comfort, joy, and healing. Yet, behind the laughter, Robin struggled with depression, anxiety, and the later onset of Lewy body dementia, a neurological disorder that affected his mind and body. On August 11, 2014, Robin Williams took his own life. The world responded with an outpouring of grief unlike anything seen before. Fans, celebrities, and world leaders paid tribute to the man who had brought so much light. Murals, memorials, and tributes appeared globally, a testament to how deeply he was loved. Robin's story is one of paradox. The man who gave so much happiness struggled with profound sadness. But his legacy reminds us that kindness, humor, and empathy are among the greatest gifts one can give. Legacies that live forever. Though Amy Winehouse, Prince, Whitney Houston, Cory Monteith, and Robin Williams left the world too soon, their legacies continue to shape culture. Their stories remind us that talent is often born alongside struggle, that brilliance sometimes carries unbearable weight, and that the human spirit, even when fragile, can inspire millions. They remind us to celebrate life, to cherish creativity, and to look beyond the headlines of tragedy. For in their voices, performances, and laughter, we find pieces of ourselves. And while their lives ended too soon, their spirits remain eternal.